Hey y'all, Shannon has news. So, a journalist is calling out Blake Lively for a 2016 interview that she's now referring to as the most uncomfortable interview situation I have ever experienced. That does sound bad. There certainly is some scary beats out there, that's for sure. And these mean girls, ugh, they really can be atrocious. Says a source close to the actress says the exchange was sparked by the journalist's rude statement to Lively. So it's being reported that on Saturday, August 10th, Norwegian reporter Kjersti Flaa uploaded a 4-minute interview with Lively to YouTube titled The Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job. Some people have started these conspiracies that I am connected to the PR campaign against Blake Lively. That is not true, she said. Okay, so let's just look at this interview ourselves. And you tell me what you think about it. I'm going to tell you what I think about what went on in this interview. And let's see if Blake is a mean girl in here.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
And these, they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are
You
you-
like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
Okay, so right there, I definitely don't see Parker Posey really being rude. She looks like that she's trying to include her. Now, it did look like Blake got a little bit offended right there. It looked to me a little bit like Blake may have got her feelings hurt a little bit to start with, and I'm sure the interviewer was not meaning it that way. It didn't look like that she was. It kind of looked like that maybe she was just trying to start things off on a friendly foot. But, you never know what to say when you're a journalist to people. You never know what is going to offend them. So if they get offended, you just keep, you move on and you just keep pushing at it. I did wonder at first why the interview that was done with Blake and Parker seemed to be focused so much on the interviewer than with the two actors in the movie. And so I think that was a part of the smear campaign, whether Miss Flaa, the journalist Flaa, whether she, was a participant in it on purpose or not. I think that it certainly was used in a smear campaign against Blake. It certainly looks like it because no one is mentioning Parker. Of course, she didn't seem like a mean girl in here so far. So, hey, let's just see.
Most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I love Jesse's suit.
So Parker is looking at her and, including her in the conversation. I noticed that Blake still isn't yet. So that is a little bit rude on her part. I hope that she may have, since they have seen each other and there's other interviews after this. So I would hope that, she did a better job the next time, maybe recognize that she wasn't having a good day and kind of switch those things around. So I've been a writer and a journalist, so about 30 years or more, well, around there anyway. I have interviewed a handful of film stars, like I said, and my first one was with Lauren Chapin. She played Kathy Kitten in Father Knows Best, and I don't know how many of y'all will know anything about that show. It was on in the late 50s, and I knew about it from reruns, watching it from reruns and all, and hear about it from my grandparents. So, yeah, we're coming up on, 75 years or more? Around 75 years since that even aired. She was an adult at that time when I interviewed her, and I was a young reporter. So she played the youngest child on that show. And, she was a delight to me. And I think now, the last I heard, she was a minister and had a website. I think it's Lauren Knows Best or something where, she just tells about her experiences and all. So full disclosure, I worked with Parker Posey on the movie The Staircase on Netflix, and she's amazing in it. She did a really good job. She's, that is because she's very dedicated. She's very focused on her work. She's extremely dedicated to making a scene work. She's, you know, been in this business a long time herself. She's won a lot of awards, very deserved awards. Um, you know, these film folk, they work an ungodly amount of hours doing the same thing over and over again, just to make sure the fans are delivered a great, sometimes life-changing product. So, anyway, to me, if I'm interviewing someone about their work, my focus is going to be on the project and maybe just a little bit personal. I might ask them for their experience playing the character or something like that. But, I'm not looking for corruption. It's a press junket. And, hopefully it could be a light situation. Well, it should be. It should be a light situation, a light interview. It should be fun. It should not be any controversy in it. So that's terrible that it does get like that sometimes. Okay.
And
That's what
how
I'm saying.
he
His wardrobe was
Oh, I
beautiful.
know.
Corey's
Everybody.
wardrobe
I
was
know.
gorgeous.
He's
Those
so great.
high-waisted pants.
He's so great.
I would wish men
And
wore
sorry,
high-waisted
too.
pants
I
like that
know.
still.
Oh, she looks so uncomfortable. Uh, it's hard not to feel really bad for her right now because you, you can see that you're getting maybe the left out treatment a little bit by somebody, but again, just reel it back in, reel that back in. You're the interviewer, you're the journalist, you're the professional at this, and it's your responsibility to guide your source and help them through the situation, help them through the interview because, some folks are just not keen on getting questioned all the time or getting a lot of questions about personal things. They're just private. Some people are just private. So you have to respect their boundaries and work with those folks the best that you can, you know.
Still.
Me
Or
too.
the father with his tank top and
Oh,
bed.
it's so good.
Just like it's just like
Did you
that.
catch
You could
the,
feel
the
it.
tablecloth on the light in the Italian restaurant when they eat
I
spaghetti?
didn't
and
notice that. No.
that-
Honestly, there is something to be said about, listening while folks talk. You can learn a lot. A good journalist is not only a good writer, they learn to listen to the conversations that are going on that they're not a part of. Some of the best information that I have had, that I have found, has come out of overhearing conversations from very high ranking folks. And they don't know you're listening because you're not even maybe a part of their atmosphere. So there is something to be said about becoming invisible when you're a journalist. You learn a lot of things and you can get some really, really good coverage that way.
There's
I
so
feel
much
like-
warmth of everything,
Yeah, it's not just the women that have the clothes.
But
I feel like the women
Victoria-
get the conversation, but
Okay, she is looking at the journalist, and that kind of tells me that she's trying to say maybe this is the way you should act. This is the way you should talk to folks. This is the questions that you should be concerned with. These are the things that you should be doing. You should be conducting the interview this way. So,
It's like
Yeah.
every detail with everybody.
But
Like,
yeah,
it's so,
it was
so
amazing
beautiful.
to look at.
Sleeves,
And then to
white
see it,
suits.
yes.
And then you notice in LA, like everybody's in cream colors and all the men are wearing like white and cream. And then you get to New York and it's a little bit more browns and moodier. And Susie really told such a story.
Yeah.
okay, that was definitely not mean girl attitude right there. I think her attitude itself had started changing a little bit because she's starting to maybe include the interviewer, Miss Flaa, in the conversation. Now that is again what it looks like to me. And so there is a little change there. Parker obviously looks a little uncomfortable. And it's probably just another situation where you have somebody that is uncomfortable doing interviews. Sometimes people are really, really good at, acting in front of a camera, but maybe they're not so much at public speaking. And that's okay. Not everybody is the same. So, but that's what it looks like to me. Looks like Parker's a little uncomfortable and Blake's just pregnant.
Amazing.
Alongside Vittorio, because it is a lot brighter and sunnier in LA, and New York has just a steaminess to it.
And I think, the whole Hollywood glam, it's so glamorous and everything. Can you relate to the things they were saying about Hollywood? It's so easy to get seduced by the fame and the money and the glamour.
You see it all the time. That was one of my favorite things about the movie, were the subtle turns to their own transition into like the ego of showbiz that Kristen has in that scene with Steve Carell, and then with Bobby taking on the persona of a club owner, but still like these are things you do when you're an adult.
Yeah.
When you have to.
So there's Parker explaining the movie, some concepts about the movie, really just relating it to her question, but bringing it back to the movie, which is what that interview should be about. Folks are going to be interested in actors and actresses and all, but they're going to see the movie. That's what they're paying for. They're paying to see a good movie. It's got to have good writers, got to have a good director, needs to have a good photographers. Everybody, the whole crew needs to come together. There's so many people working on there. Scripts, lighting, sound. It goes on and on, prop. It goes on and on. There's so many moving parts to this industry. People are going to pay to see the movie, not just that one star. The star brings them in for sure. It shines the light on the movie. That's what the stars do. But boy, if that movie is not worthy of the light, there's nothing that star can do to help it. Really isn't.
Work. You have to. You play a part. You play at your life in a way that you find successful, or so it's a lot about choices, and then they carry this love, and it's just very. It's very.
Miss Flaa here looks very uncomfortable again. But I don't understand why she is still uncomfortable. It's just a conversation between a group of women. I'm not in the room. I wasn't in the room, so I don't know what the atmosphere feels like. But I do know that this is a conversation. And when there's a conversation going on, either you participate or you listen. She chose to listen. And if that's what you want to do, then, you don't need to feel uncomfortable or anything. Just, get into the conversation. Just get in there however you can. It is what it is. If they're not having a bad day, that's not on you. It'll be okay. Don't get offended by it.
It's neat to see where they came from, though, and see how authentic these people truly are and what good people they truly are, too.
Yeah.
Because it's what you would see from the outside of the cafe society. You could dismiss each of their characters,
Right.
but to see what a heart and soul each of them have is nice, and it's something that, that's the thing, as far as like relating to it personally, that you see, you have these ideas of people that you're fans of, and then you meet them and get to know them as a person, and oftentimes you're such a greater fan of them as a person than you are as the person that people feel like they know, and that's always, that's always nice. And
Don't it look like to you that Blake is just kind of being open and honest about her feelings? And this interviewer is still offended and taking it offensive that Blake is just talking. When you are the one that's conducting the interview, you are a journalist. You're not supposed to be the center of attention. That would be the subject of the story. That's who the center of attention is. And your source, they don't have to entertain you just because they're entertainers. They don't have to be on all the time. They've already put in their acting hours, which is what they are trained to do. The press circuit really is marketing. I don't know a whole lot of actors that have marketing degrees. So they're really just doing this so that the production can save money. And you might say, well, they're actors. Let them act during these interviews. But is that what you really want them to do? To their fans, to the public? When they tune into the film, the fans know they are watching fantasy. But when there's an interview, they're looking for what's real. That's not the time to act. That's an interview now. The acting time is over. You're off the clock and have clocked out on set. You're moving on to a different department. It really has nothing to do with acting. So, to me, why would you want to deceive them? Why would you want to deceive the fans and have the actors act out those interviews? I mean, are you willing to write lines for the actors and slip them some compensation for the after show? No, you want to get that show for free.
Refreshing when you see that.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is the biggest misconceptions about fame and Hollywood in general?
I think the idea that people think that they know you, I think because of the how intrusive media is these days, people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you. So I think the biggest misconception I see often is people feeling like they know someone that they don't, because they know what the media has created of someone. And the disappointing thing is when you meet the people, they're always so much more awesome than they're portrayed to be. I mean, that's normally my experience. And even people that are portrayed to be really great people, they're just a lot more complicated and interesting and nuanced and caring and thoughtful. And that's always nice, to see that your idea of someone.
It sounds like that she has had a bad experience maybe with some journalists that are making up things about her in the press, or at least people she cares about. That's what she's saying that is a concern, it sounds like. So
Isn't always who they actually are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Yep, later. I think we saw the eye roll there at the end. Let's see if we can pause it yet. Okay. So, Parker's eye roll there. People are thinking that means that it was a bad interview because of Miss Flaa, and I just don't agree with that. I think that she's rolling her eyes that, oh, thank God that is over. She may be very uncomfortable giving the interview or any interview. And when any interview is over, most likely she is just, relieved. And she may be a little thinking, that was uncomfortable for sure. So, but, y'all, the thing of it is sometimes we do get our feelings hurt. It's going to happen. People are going to say things sometimes that we don't always either like or agree with. They may be standoffish. Maybe they just don't like you and they don't know why. That is okay. If your spirits are not, clinging to each other, it will be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. You will find those that you have more kinetic energy with, or, that good vibe with. If you don't have a good vibe with someone, that's okay. You don't have to be around them. You're not forced to be around them. But, even if you don't, and especially if you, you know, um, if you do feel some kind of way, have a problem with someone, don't be going on a smear campaign, because, don't let it hurt your feelings because, you may feel like a couple of ladies left you out of a conversation or something. It's going to be okay. And so those are my opinions, on that. This is what this is all about. And, with all of this evidence coming out, text messages talking about a smear campaign against Blake, which also explains why I kept seeing all these ugly things pop up on social media regarding Blake's personality. Yet all the information was coming from folks that don't even know the lady. And now the ones that do know her, those in her inner circle, they are all coming out in her defense. Oh, I really believe that there is some bullying going on. But it ain't on the side of Blake or Parker. I would say that Kjersti Flaa has started her own Mean Girl channel on YouTube. But, she has a right to tell her experiences. She has a right to talk to folks about that. And she has a right to spill the beans on the film work and the film folk that she has interviewed and her experiences with them. But no right to go on a smear campaign, which she says she has no part in. She has said it adamantly that she's not gotten paid for that she's just coming out equally to the folks that she has had a good experience with and those that she's had a bad experience with. I will say that with her, she does have her own platform now, so you can, really just be a big influence on who is likable and who is not. And on her show, it does seem like maybe she teams up with some other mean girls by inviting other interviewers on her show to agree together about how awful these stars are. Certain ones, but also how wonderful those are. Hey, it may be a good thing that she's shining a light on all of this experience that she's had with the film folk, with their interviews and all. It is certainly interesting to see things from a journalist's point of view. So, here we are. This is my point of view, folks. Hey, y'all. If you'd like the content I'm bringing to you, don't forget to subscribe. Trying to build up my subscribers and hit that like button if this is something that you want to see more of. Keep those likes coming, and I'm going to keep the content coming.
Now, you know you can't believe everything you see on TV.